Anybody, he gives it to Wall. Working against Bradley for three. John Wall!
Hold on.
What a shot!
Now you talk about a pressure shot. That was it. Because they had nothing. They were trying to bring Bradley Beal.
At one point, John Wall was one of the best players in the NBA and being considered the best guard in the Eastern Conference during his run with the Washington Wizards. But as of today, John Wall has not been able to find a spot on an NBA roster, even going an entire season without playing a game with the Houston Rockets. So what happened to John Wall, and can he make his return to the NBA? John Wall is from North Carolina and had a pretty difficult upbringing, but one thing was clear is that John Wall was extremely talented at basketball, but he had an attitude problem and his temper was holding him back. He was even nicknamed Crazy J for his wild behavior as a kid, but after he seen the sacrifices that his mom was making for him, he knew basketball was his way out and he started taking it more serious. Eventually, he attended a Word of God Christian Academy where he went crazy in his high school senior season, averaging 22 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals per game. A bunch of college recruiters were looking to get John Wall, but he wanted to play for one coach, and that was John Calipari. So it was then that John Wall attended the University of Kentucky on an OP roster with Eric Bledsoe and Boogie Cousins on it, where he led them to the Elite Eight, averaging 17 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds. Being considered one of the best guards in his class, he was selected first overall by the Washington Wizards in the 2010 NBA draft.
With the first pick in the 2010 NBA draft, the Washington Wizards select John Wall from the University of Kentucky.
And then whenever he got into the NBA, his impact was felt immediately. He was known for his athleticism, his speed, his ability to get to the rim. I mean, it was hard to stop John Wall whenever he was driving on the fast break. And on top of that, he was an elite playmaker, which just added an extra layer to his game. And the Wizards were looking to build around their new point guard, and they doubled down on this whenever they drafted Bradley Beal the following year. And then the historic Washington Wizards backcourt duo was officially assembled. Like with many other NBA players, injury has plagued John Wall's career, and he would get his first hint of injuries at the beginning of the 2012 season when he missed a small portion of the season due to a knee injury, but returned in early 2013. And it was during this month, on March 25th, 2013, that John Wall got his career high 47 points versus the Grizzlies. And it was clear that John Wall was blossoming into an all-star, and the Wizards believed in him. In 2013, 2014 is when he really started getting recognized. He signed a 5-year contract extension, $80 million, and then was selected as an East reserve for the 2014 All-Star Game. And on top of that, he became the first player in Wizards history to win a slam dunk contest. He was having a breakout season, averaging 19 points, 8 assists, and 4 rebounds, with the Wizards finishing as the 5th seed in the East, qualifying for the playoffs for the first time in 6 years. And then in the 2014-15 season, he was selected for the all-defensive team, and for the first time was named as an Eastern Conference starter in 2015. But when it came down to crunch time, unfortunately, Jay Wall and the Wizards could not pull it off in the playoffs. They made it to the second round, but ended up losing to the Atlanta Hawks. But John Wall continued his campaign with the Wizards and had an incredible stretch in the 2015-2016 season. In December of 2015, being named the player of the month, he was going crazy this month. He dropped back-to-back 30-point, 10-assist games, dropped a career-high 19 assists versus the Kings, and had 7 straight double-doubles. However, towards the end of the season, injuries would plague John Wall once again, and he would have knee surgery in May of 2016, but was prepared for the 2016-17 season. He would have his best season in the NBA. This was one of my favorite Wizards rosters. I'm a Wizards fan, so I really miss this roster, man. It was good times. At first, he started the season with limited minutes, but it was at the beginning of the season where he already started breaking records. He broke Wes Unseld's franchise record for career assists on November 7th and was selected for the All-Star game once again in 2017. But then it came down to crunch time, and the Wizards' historic playoff run began. They ended the season at 49-33 with the 4th seed in the East, and they went into the first round against the Hawks, where John Wall averaged 29 points, 10 assists, and 4 rebounds in 6 games. games. And then they went on to play Boston Celtics in a historic playoff series where John Wall had the best moment of his career in a Game 6 game winner. There's a funny backstory to this game. The Celtics actually wore all black to this game because they said it was a funeral and they were going to take Washington out for the rest of the season. But John Wall stepped up and came in clutch. But
Anybody, he gives it to Wall. Working against Bradley for three. John Wall!
Hold on.
What a shot!
Now you talk about a pressure shot. That was it. Because they had nothing. They were trying to bring Bradley Beal from the
eventually
left
losing
side.
to the Celtics in Game 7. It was a crazy series. I recommend going back to watch it if you haven't. And the Wizards definitely loved it because they signed John Wall to a 4-year, $170 million contract in the offseason. And he would play in the 2018-2019 season, but was sidelined on January 30th, 2018 for an ongoing left knee injury, and then made it back for the 2018 playoffs, but they lost to the Raptors in 6 games. He was still playing pretty well, but after this, everything started going downhill for John Wall. In the 2018-2019 season, he was ruled out with a left heel injury, and then he underwent surgery for that left heel injury in January 2019. I mean, he has to be the most unluckiest player ever because he got an infection in the incision from the surgery, which I'm sure just caused a bunch of problems, and he even said he almost lost his foot because of this. And then on top of that, in February 2019, news started breaking that John Wall tore his Achilles from slipping in his house. So then after that, he was ruled out for 12 months. And then Washington decided they wanted to go in a different direction, acquiring Russell Westbrook and trading John Wall after a historic run with the Wizards. And John Wall's time with the Rockets was very rough, to say the least. When he first got to the Houston Rockets, he thought it was going to be a great season with James Harden, but James Harden didn't even go to training camp, so he knew things were chalked from the beginning. James Harden eventually left the Houston Rockets, forcing them to rebuild. And in the first season with the Rockets, he averaged 20 points, 7 assists, and 3 rebounds per game on 40% shooting. But the Rockets were tanking, and they haven't been that good in the last few seasons. And during that season with John Wall, they ended the season 17-55, and he was starting to have problems with the front office, and it got to the point where they decided that they didn't even want John Wall to play anymore. They reached a mutual decision for him not to play in the 2021-2022 season, but it was clear that his time with the Rockets was over, and he was quick to sign with the Clippers in the 2022 offseason, and things were looking promising for John Wall's return, bouncing back from all these injuries that he's had. He started the season with the Clippers, and in 34 games after coming back from his injury, Wall only played about 20 minutes per game and averaged 11 points, 2 rebounds, and 5 assists, and he just wasn't the same player that he was in Washington. All of these injuries had to take a toll on his body, but it's no doubt that he's still an effective player, and he was with the Clippers, but they just weren't headed in that direction, and John Wall was the only standard veteran contract for the Clippers. On January 15th, he was ruled out for an abdominal injury. Shortly after being ruled out with his injury, a podcast was posted on January 17th, 2023, the Run Your Race podcast, where John Wall was opening up about his times in the NBA, and he got to the Houston Rockets, and he started bashing the Houston Rockets, saying that it was a poor organization to play for, and that he was treated poorly while he was playing for him.
Talk about the Rockets experience.
Trash.
I already know.
I know. Beyond trash. Like,
But the story comes full circle. So just like 2 weeks later, the Clippers decided to trade John Wall in a 3-team deal, sending him back to the Houston Rockets. And so it was just shortly 3 days after he was traded, he was officially waived from the Houston Rockets and has been out of the NBA since. He played 11 seasons in the NBA, and he had a really solid NBA career. And to be honest, I don't think that it's over. It is clear that he does want to be back in the NBA. There was some articles that came out right before the 2023 season that said John Wall was holding private workouts for multiple teams, but he couldn't land a roster spot. And then again in November, it came out that he wanted to return to the NBA at some point. He said, "I love the game. I still get up at 6 a.m. every morning to work out, and I'm still dedicated to get him back in. I think something will happen soon, and for me, I still love the grind. I still love to get up and put in the work." John Wall and Austin Rivers were also working out for NBA teams this season. I think he could be an effective bench player in the league. He's an effective player, and he's still putting in the work each and every day. Obviously, he's older now and farther along in his career, so he won't be the same player that he was back in the day. But like I said, I think he could still be an effective bench player, get you some quick quick buckets and run the offense. And he seems like he will be the perfect veteran player to help lead some of the younger guys on any team he goes to. And I think that he could be an asset to any team. I've seen him in podcasts and I've heard him talk in a few podcasts the last few months. He's been making some appearances and he seems to be in a good mindset right now. I mean, he's not going back to the Houston Rockets, but you know, any other team besides them. He potentially could in the next few months with the offseason coming up. Do you think John Wall can return to the NBA? And do you think he would be an effective player on an NBA roster? Let me know down in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. And let's see if John Wall makes his NBA return.